This is Gemara Sanhedrin Daf Ayin Hey. I'm holding the bottom of Ayin Dalit Amud Beis. Firstly, an apology. In the previous year, I somehow said Gemara in Saita. I appreciate the YouTube correction. Mirta Shem Schos to continue learning together. And as well, we like all the learning to be an incredible Schos Rafua Shlema. For Tinoik ben Miriam Ahuva b'siyata d'shmaya, the unlimited and infinite Kayach HaTorah should continue being able to show how Hashem is Revei Chol Basar and continue bringing a complete Refuah Shalema. So we're holding 10 lines on the bottom. The first word line is Ka Ba'i. An exciting day as we're going to be finishing the 8th parak, the parak of Ben Meir, here in Sanhedrin. So we're going to be discussing the famous sugya of the Gimel Aviras Chamurais when one has to give up his lives. So asks the Gemara, Ba'i minei mervami. Ben Noyach mitzava al kedushas Hashem oy ein mitzava al kedushas Hashem. What about a Ben Noyach? And I believe anyone who did not learn the beginning of this Masechta might be a little bit bothered by this line. But us who's learned all the Gemaras, realizing that Bnei Noyach, Goyim, also have a tafkid, also have halachas, also have their Sheva mitzvahs, etc. On that vein, asks the Gemara, what about a Ben Noyach? And as Rashi says, if someone puts a gun to his head and says, violate one of the 7 commandments, the 7 Shiva Mitzvah Bnei Noyach, what is their halacha? Amar Abaye Shema Sheva Mitzvahs Nitzavu Bnei Noyach V'Misa, and says Abaye, Tam Nehavon. And if there was a halacha of Kedushas Hashem, there would really be a heat, and therefore must be they don't have to give up their life. Amar le Rava, no. Inu v'chol abizrayu. The halacha means the Brayser are commanded to keep them, the Shiva Mitzvahs, and all the abizrayu, all the offshoots, all the branches of it. And of course, Kedushas Hashem would be a branch off of it, and therefore, according to Rava, the yes would have to seemingly risk their life or give away their life. So, my havi Allah, what's the maskana? Says the Gemara. Amar Ravad Rava Amri Bei Rav Ksiv. Says the Torah, La Davar Hazeh Yisach Hashem Lavdecha. So the Torah of this is Nach. Naaman tells Elisha the things that Hashem should forgive your servant. Be'voy Adoni Beis Rimoin. L'shachavay Shama. V'hu Nishan Al Yadi. V'shtachavaysi. When the master comes to Beis Rimoin to bow down, leans on my arms, I'll bow down too. Ksiv says the pasuk. Vayomer loy lech l'shalayim. And he, Elisha, says to Naaman, go in peace. So what's the raya? As we turn over to Ayin Hey Amid Aleph, says the Gemara V'Misa, and if it was true that the Ben Noyach has halacha of Kedush Hashem, that a Ben Noyach who's told either bite the bullet or violate one of the 7 commandments, he has to get killed. Then Elisha should not have said to Naaman, Lech l'shalayim. That seems that Elisha is being maskim to Naaman. For the fact that Elisha says such to Naaman, we could bring a raya that a Ben Noyach is not mitzaveh al kedushas Hashem. Says the Gemara, no raya. Ha b'tzina, ha b'farhesya. The ma'aser with Naaman was b'tziva, and their sinah was in private, and therefore there was no chil Hashem, and therefore there's no rayom. Says the Gemara now leaves it as such, and we do not have a raya whether Ben Noyach is mitzvah al kiddush Hashem, whether he has to give up his life. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav. A very famous Gemara. There was a man that put his eyes on a certain woman, Tina, and his heart became obsessed with her, and he became sick. He gave the axe to the doctors. V'amru, and the doctor said, literally lovesick. You want to get better? You're obsessed with this woman. You must sleep with her. Amru chachamim, I'm sorry. She's an erva. And Allah is Yamas Valti Bala. You have to die before having relations with her. So the doctor said, Tamu l'fan of Aruma. Okay, you can have relations with her. Said the doctors, you know what? Let her stand before him undressed, and maybe that will be enough to calm his desire. Says the Chachamim, Yamas Tamu l'fan of Aruma. Say the doctors, an incredible line. Speak to her from behind the wall. Say the Chachamim you have to even die, because this is, once you're obsessed with this woman, these are all auxiliaries, all levels of Azrayu Degili Arayis, and therefore you cannot even talk to her. Literally, gather behind the wall. So Pligi bar Rav Yaakov Yidi Rav Shmuel bar Nachmani Chanamar Ishet Shaisa. Chanamar Punu Yaisa. We understand the whole story. And Ishet, of course, is an erva, of course. Is an Isser Raisa to be with her. Elamanda Rav Punu Yaisa. My Kulei. Why are we being so chamer? Rapapa Amar. You know why? Says Rapapa Chiddush Mekamish Racha, who disgraced the woman's family. You know why? We don't want B'nai Israel to be prutzais, and therefore there was a special decree over here that she wasn't even able to stand undressed. Says the Gemara, 1 second, if she's not married, we have a simple eitzah. Valinsa minsav, why don't they just get married? Says the Gemara, his obsession would not have settled by marriage. Kid Rav Yitzchak, Damar Rav Yitzchak, Miyoim Shachar Beis Hamikdash Net L'Tambiyah, V'nitna La'ivrei Aveira. From the time of the Churban, the Tambiyah was removed from married people, and it was only a form of Aveira. Shenemar Mayim Genuvim, Yim Taku V'lechem Sisarim Yinaim. Stolen waters are sweet, the bread of secrecy is pleasant, and the only way to calm down this Yitzer was if they dafka had relations when they were not married, and therefore says the Gemara, of course, that is going to be absolutely forbidden. The incredible and chomer halachas of Azrael Degili Arayis, we see that once one has that obsession, any form of pleasure with one who's an erva is going to be included in the Isser, and therefore will be forbidden, and so forbidden that one even has to give up his life for such. Says the Gemara, Hadron alach ben Sarah Meirer, we shall return, we should get the schosim, and always, maybe a shtickle bracha that everyone should have, and which have nachas from their kids, from learning the halachas of what a kid who has no nachas to his parents, a ben Sarah Meir, should be able to be the impetus to bring the ultimate nachas. Says the Mishnah as we begin the 9th parak, we move on from skila to the next level of chiyuvei misa bezdin, which of course is shrifa. Says the Mishnah, ilu hein hanisrafim. The following aveira is one who gets burned for abal isha, one who has relations to a woman, ubita, and her daughter. Ubaskayin shezinta, a baskayin, daughter of a kain who is mizana. Yesh bechlal isha ubita. You know who's included in a mother and a daughter. Bitai, ubas bitai, his daughter, and his daughter's daughter, and ubas bina, his son's daughter. Bas ishtai, his wife's daughter, bas bita, bas bina. Chamaisai, concludes the Mishnah, so it's all the daughters all the way down. Mother-in-law, and now all the way up, ve'im chamais, ve'im chama, of all those are as well included in this isser of isha ubita that carries with it the death penalty of sreifa. Says the Gemara, habal isha shenasa bita lai katani. The Mishnah does not say one who's with a woman whose daughter he has married, which would seemingly teach us that one is together with his mother-in-law. Elo, what did the Mishnah say? Habal isha ubita. One who's together with a woman and her daughter. Michlal, what is the obvious implication? Ditarvayu li'isura. It's not pshat that he marries a woman and with her mother-in-law be'is. His mother-in-law be'isr. No. Both of them are be'isr. Umayninu. And what is such a case? Chamaisai ve'im chamaisai. Because a regular woman and her daughter, they're not both be'isr. The daughter is perfectly mutter. So it must be the mother-in-law and the mother of the mother-in-law. Both isurim, that's when there's going to be sreifa in both cases. Vikatani, yesh b'chal isha, ubita. And the Mishnah says, included in the woman and her daughter, other similar cases. B'chlal, the tervayuk siva behedya, seems to imply that they're both written explicitly. V'hanach medrash say, and we learn now to the punishment from a medrash. So says the Gemara, that's like the introduction. And based on that introduction, we're going to see which shita this fits like. 6 lines into the new parak. Then what? Masti Samani Rabbi Kivi. Masti Samani. According to Rava, we don't know whom the Mishnah is. Says the Gemara, Isha Shenasa Bita. Say one who marries a woman whose daughter he has married, meaning Rava will redefine the Mishnah. Our whole Havamina was, it doesn't say one who's with a woman and his mother-in-law, so they both are Be'eser. Says the Gemara, according to Rava, that is indeed what it means. Continues the Gemara at the two dots, Ish Bechlal, Isha Obita Chamaisa Ve'im Chamaisai Ve'eb Chamav. Says the Gemara, according to Abaye, therefore, once we listed one level, Tninami Chamaisai Chamaisai. The Rav So it says the Gemara, each Shita will go according to their Shita. But now says the Gemara, where do we know all these arayas, the mother-in-law, the mother's mother-in-law, etc., etc.? What is the source for all these cases? The Tana Rabbanan, Ish, Asher Yikach Es Isha V'Yes Ima. A man will take a woman and her mother. Ein li ele Isha V'Ima. From this I know that treif is only for a woman and her mother. Bas Isha Ubas Bita Ubas Bina Binayin. So the Pashup, shall we know in the Pasuk? Where do we know the next level? Nemer Kan Zima Nemer Lahalan Zima. It says in the Pasuk, Zima Malahalan. Zima Malahalan Bita Ubas Bita Ubas Bina. Avkan Bita Ubas Bita Ubas Bina. So it says, okay. But Mnayin Lasa Zcharim Gina Kevais. Where do we know that the males are like the females? Nemer kan zima v'nemer lahalan zima malan zacharim g'nei kevais av kan zacharim g'nei kevais. Says Gemara minayin lasas lamati kalamala. These are classical drushes that we've had so many times. Anytime we have to figure out the arayas, we have to figure out each level, the level up and the level down. Nemer kan zima nemer lahalan zima lalamata kalamav kalamata kalamala ma kalamala kalamata avlalamala kilet mata. That's the pasha drushais. But now, as always, now that we got the Pasha Josh, let's dive a little bit deeper. Mar, 3 lines to the bottom. Where the Brisa said, how do we know that males are like females? Says what do you mean males are like females? If you mean to say that the wife's son's daughter is like the wife's daughter's daughter, can't be, because they both learned together from the same Zera Shava. Must be father-in-law's mother is like mother-in-law's mother. But but if im chamasai, we don't know yet. We're looking for the zcharim, meaning in the progression of the brisa, there's a big problem here. We jump to say, so how do we know males are like females? But which males? Which case within the 9 arayos in the Mishnah are we looking for? So we turn over to Ayin Heim and Beis and says the Gemara, Amar Abaye, says Abaye Hachi Kamar, this is what's going on. Binayin lasay shar. Shar haba, she'er haba mimenu kisher haba mimena. Abaye says, you know what the Brisa is teaching us? How do we know to make the she'er, the relatives, from him, the husband, like the relatives that are from her, the wife? Nemer kan zima v'nemer halan zima v'chulu. Says the Gemara, Zima says the Gemara, we have a problem. You're learning it out from Zima, but by Sher Day, it doesn't say Zima. Amar Rava, Amar Li Rav Yitzchak Bar Avdumi, Asya, Hina. Asya, Zima, 2 different Zera Shavas that connect the 2 parshias. We continue with the next line of the Brisa. Amar Rav Minayin Lasas Lamata Kilamalo. My lamata kalamali, lema basu na kibas bita kibita. Padi adadi kisim. Elaim chamavei chamaisai kichamaisai. Hi, lamata kilamala, lamala kilamata. It's the wrong way. It's not the bottom's like the top's like the top's like the bottom. Havai says the Gemara. Tini lamala kilamata inachanami. We got to switch around the words of the Brisa. Says the Gemara, wait, if that's true, Yachi Nemer Kan Zima v'Nemer Lahalon Zima. Says the Gemara, then 1 second. The Brisa concluded and said, it says Zima Lamata, it says Zima Lamala, Umahashtam. Enu like Ksiva Zima did who? Ksiva One more time. There again, Zima Namal Zima, Mahashta Inu like Siva. If they themselves are not written, Zima Deduk Siva can be Zima is written. If the whole thing is from a drasha, then where do you have the Zima? So Amar Abaye Achi Kamar Minai and Lasais Shleisha Tairis Lamala. Kishleisha Tairis Lamata. How do you know 3 up, 3 down? Number Lamata, Zima, number Lamala, Zima, Malamata, Shleisha Tairis Lamala, Shleisha Tairis. Umay. So now we finish all the drashas. Uma be'oinesh asa lamata kamala, by the punishment of the same afazhar nami asa lamala kile mata. Another teretz of Ashi Amar. With this we're going to conclude. Lo'ilam kediktani my lamata be'iser. It means below an iser. We assumed, well, that's the general assumption, lamata is children, lamala is parents. Says Gemara, no. Lamata be'iser. It means it's a lower level of iser, not a lower level of relation. We're going to pick up from here, b'siyata dishmaya.